Hello and welcome to Piwik PRO YouTube video series. Topic of the video: automate sending ad conversions from Piwik PRO CDP to Google Ads. So what we're gonna learn? We'll explain why it is important to send ad conversions from Piwik PRO to Google Ads and what are the benefits of doing that via Piwik PRO CDP. Finally, we will provide you with the step-by-step process for that. Okay, let's dive in. So why should you even send the conversion data? Well, it is crucial for you to know which campaigns perform best to be able to optimize your campaigns. In other words, make sure you spend money on the campaigns that lead to conversions. Now, how does that happen, you may ask? Visitor clicks on an ad and then link from ad to your website has an appended Google Click ID. If the conversion takes place on your website from such a click, from such visit, we send it to Google and then Google links such a click ID with the appropriate campaign, and thanks to that you will see which campaign performed within Google Ads panel. Another reason is that sending such conversions is crucial for campaigns such as Performance Max, which is an example of an AI-powered campaign. For Google to learn and improve their performance, the more data points Google's AI has, the better the performance of such campaign types. Question is, why would you want to do it using Piwik PRO CDP? First, it relates to privacy. You will have control over what is sent to Google Ads, and you will be able to send only what is necessary to Google, especially if you don't want to run Google scripts on your website. Second, while you can automate the process of sending conversions using conversion tags, that is not the case with offline conversions, which require manual upload. For example, your online conversions might not always end up becoming a qualified lead, and the status would change once the lead goes through the manual process within your CRM platform. Only then would you want to send that conversions or enrich the previous, current, or existing one. And using CDP, you could automate that process by adding an extra condition in the CDP audience based on the attribute that you can sync with your CRM. Not to mention, you could apply additional filters to send only the most appropriate conversions to Google, whatever they might be. Which brings me to another benefit: such conversions can be sent automatically without the need to export them from your CRM and then upload them to Google Ads. By the way, Google Analytics is also not always helpful in exporting Google Click ID data from Analytics to Google Ads. So the very first step that we need to do in order to be able to send conversions to Google Ads would be to connect Piwik PRO and Google Ads. So before we create audience, meaning the conditions for what sort of data we want to send, and then create the activations, first we need to make sure that we can use the actual activation. So what do I mean by that? If you click on add an activation, then go to the Google Ads template, you will see that it is not connected. I can click on it, but I cannot click next. That's because it is not connected. So in order to connect Google Ads with Piwik PRO, you need to go to Analytics and then go to Settings, and then go to Google Ads. You need to have appropriate permissions to be able to connect Google Ads with Piwik PRO, so make sure you have that. But then under Google Ads, you'll be able to see this button. So I'm going to click on this button, and then I'm going to connect the Google Ads account. So now we can see it is connected. And now if I were to go back to Customer Data Platform, under Activations, I can click on Google Ads template. Now I can click next. So that's the very first step. Next step would be to add an audience. So let's do that. I'm going to call mine Google Ads Conversion Export. And then here we need to create the conditions. So we're going to send the profiles that entered our website and converted a goal, and that we are sending the most recent Google Click ID from which visitor came to our website. The Google Click ID is associated with a particular ad. So in order to do that, we need to first use channel last value of the channel, because we collect a list. Last channel is campaign, so it's not a direct entry search engine, website, or social. It's a campaign. It has to be either of those, so we want to specify that it has to be campaign. Not only that, source medium, last source medium. So not only it has to be campaign, but the source medium has to be AdWords pay-per-click or Google cost per click. Now, these values could be different for in your case. So you'd need to check either in Google Ads platform or with Piwik PRO Analytics, what are those values in case of your ads. But in my case, I'm going to use those two because those are the most popular that are used for Google Ads. Moreover, we would need to send Google Click ID. So we're going to add another condition using and. So campaign and either of those two values for source medium every time last value, the most recent. And it's the same for Google Click ID. The last Google Click ID in a list is not empty. So we do have a value for the recent Google Click ID. And finally, we want to specify what conversion we want to attribute, to which goal conversion we want to give credit to from all the different goals that we set up in the analytics. So first, let's choose the goal. So in my case, that would be registration, just a generic goal. But in here, I'm going to set up at least one time. So it could be two. If I were to fill in the registration form 2 times, that's fine. And then in the last hour. Now, in Piwik PRO Analytics, the session ends 30 minutes from the last activity of the visitor on the website. And it's arbitrary, but there has to be a rule. And it is also arbitrary if we should set the event conversion for the last hour or last 50 minutes, considering the fact that in some cases, a user could come from a few different campaigns, email campaign, Google Ads campaign, Facebook Ads campaign, within the window of a few minutes, while it might be still considered as the same visit in some platforms, like in Piwik PRO. So it's all debatable. But as far as Google is concerned and campaign optimization, we want the most recent Google Click ID to be sent to give credit for the conversion. After all, whether it was combined effort of different ads, we want to let know Google that their ad did play its role in conversion. So that's why we are adding here in the last hour, but that could be 15 minutes or last 5 minutes, depending how we want to look at it. Another use case, because we are ready with the audience as it is. However, in some cases, you would want to send conversions to Google Ads when the lead is qualified after evaluation by the sales team in your CRM platform. For example, if you were to use HubSpot or Salesforce, within those platforms, there could be a field or property that is manually granted status, that could manually grant a status of qualified lead. Once the sales team evaluates the lead and change the status of a lead from unqualified lead to qualified lead, that data could be synced between your CRM platform and our CDP, Piwik PRO CDP. And then additional condition could be added here. So lead status, for example, is qualified or not qualified, or qualified lead is true or false. Whatever however we would set it up, we could potentially add another step here. So in other words, the data that we send to Google is of better quality, and so Performance Max is based on machine learning, and similar campaigns will have better data to work with. And so do we by optimizing campaigns that lead to qualified conversions and not just any conversions. So this might be very important in our case. Anyway, I'm gonna save the audience. Next step will be to go to Google Ads. Now this is the test account, so it's not connected to any website, nor do I pay for any sort of adverts. But in Google Ads, you basically need to go to goals, click on goals, and in here under summary, you have conversion goals, and this button here, create conversion action. You need to click on that. And then from the options that we have here, we're not going to choose any of those. We're going to click on import. And in here, we're going to click on CRM files or other data sources. Because we connected already the Piwik PRO with Google Ads, we're going to use this method. And we're going to use track conversions from clicks. Again, we're not going to use this method, so we click on skip this step and set up the data source later. But we already did that, so we just need to click continue. And here we need to set up the conversion goal category. Now, in our case, that could be submit lead form. So we could be actually sending both. We could create two audience, submit lead form, and perhaps qualified lead. So we would be first submitting the lead form, and once it's qualified, we would send, by adding additional condition in our audience, we could then send to the same conversion information that the lead became a qualified lead. So in other words, we would enrich conversions in Google Ads system. But I'm going to click on submit lead form. In here, I'm just going to name it XYZ, just so you know what name comes from which system. Once we get back to CDP, you'll be able to identify that this name comes from Google Ads. Anyway, I'm going to click on add, and I'm going to save and continue. And in here, I'm going to click done. And now in here, you can see that we have a registration XYZ go under submit lead form, right? So there's no other conversion action in here that has the same name. Now back to CDP, we need to go to activations. So that's our next step, and we need to create a new activation. Now our Google Ads is already connected, so I'm clicking on this template. First, let us create a name for our activation. Google Ads conversion export. So that's our activation name. First, let's use our audience. So whenever a visitor joins the audience, we're going to send the conversions. Now in here, we have three options. When we're talking about first to add contact to a customer list or remove contact from your customer list, those are two different use cases for retargeting. What we are interested in right now is send click conversions. This will be another use case that I'm going to cover in separate video, so stay tuned. I'm going to click on send click conversions, and in here I need to select my Google Ads account. Notice that I have two accounts connected. I'm going to click on this one because that is the one that we've used to set up the goal conversion action. And in here, I'm going to select the appropriate goal conversion action. So that was registration XYZ. So you can see that this is the information that we pull from Google, and it's not from our system because this name has not been used in the audience. So within CDP, but this name was used in Google Ads, so we pull that information. This might be important for getting better understanding of what information comes from which system. And then data to be sent, we are sending only those three values. So Google Click ID, the timestamp, and the value. So we can assign the value. It could be 0, it could be $10 or whatever currency that we're using. Currency is being set up in the administration tab of Piwik PRO with appropriate permissions. And again, value could be whatever we're gonna enter here. So I'm gonna save my activation, and that is basically all we need to do to set up the conversions export to Google Ads. To wrap up, I would like to add a few things. First, while I did say that we're gonna be sending Google Click ID, timestamp, and the value, we also gonna be sending consents for the users. This is mainly a concern for any EU country or any organization that operates in EU country. Google requires, according to consent mode version 2, to send the consent, and the consent can be granted, denied, or unspecified. Now, if it's unspecified and the user is from outside of EU, that's not a problem. Google will use it. There's no need for consent. But if it's denied or granted, Google will know whether to use it or not. So it is important to set up the consents. I may create another video for how to do it step by step, so stay tuned. Another thing, once you save the audience, after a while, once you get some conversions, you'll be able to observe here in the activation log for particular activations the status of the conversion export. So you're going to see all the errors, if there were any successful exports, partial success. So pay attention to this area to avoid any sort of errors so you can act quickly when something is not going right.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking it and subscribing to our channel. Check the description below to find some useful links like free Piwik PRO sign up page, community forum page, and links to related videos. Until next time.